Children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Hey, everybody, we're going off half-cocked tonight. This is Final Guys. And we'll get into this later because we're going to be discussing deep down into Castle Freak territory. Stuart Gordon's... is this his last movie he did with Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs?
I think so, yeah.
So this might have been the end of the great triumvirate. And I'm joined, as always, by Jason Brant.
Hello. Yeah, the
And
Castle
Jack-
Freak is the... I've been calling it the feel-good movie of 95 since I rewatched it.
Oh, it is a feel-good movie.
God.
We watched this because Joe Bob Briggs this was his second episode of the resuscitation of his show on Shudder. So if you have 2.5 hours to kill, this is great to watch, everybody.
Yep. Figure if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for Final Guys.
Yeah, exactly. So Jack is not here, but we don't know if he's not here for good.
No, it wouldn't be a Final Guys episode if we didn't have some kind of technical issues. So,
I think you can hear like the teletype machine going off in his house as he's gathering news, frantically trying to log on. We don't know. There's a technical difficulty. So I guess what we can do. Well, Jason, do you have any news to impart? As we vamp.
Yeah, I was not quite prepared for that. Well, we both watched The Last Drive-In, right? You watched both episodes?
Did. That's because I watched Castle Freak last year for the show.
Oh,
And I
that's
said,
right, yeah.
I want to see it with Joe Bob. So I'm glad I did.
So this was the first episode of the weekly show now. I think they're doing it for 9 weeks in a row, and then I don't know what the deal is after that. But because it was just a double feature, it just felt like the old Monster Vision show. Even more so than the 26-hour marathon and all that stuff they did, because they usually didn't go that long. So this just felt, I hate to say short because it was 5 hours long, but
So this was because the stuff I saw was the other one.
he did the
or
stuff.
Chud.
He did Chud. That was
Chud.
This was a doubleheader. Yeah, each week is going to be a doubleheader.
Damn.
So yeah, but it was great. Except, and I freaking love Joe Bob. I love his show. I push it more than anybody I know. But the freaking Shudder issues every time to start are driving me crazy.
Is this when it's live?
Yeah, this is when it's live. Apparently, it was only Amazon Fire TV, as far as I know. So if you were trying to watch it on a Fire Stick, you missed about the first 5 or 10 minutes while they tried to figure out what the issue was. It just didn't show up in the app. So once again, I'm angrily, drunkenly tweeting, about how I can't see this thing, and then 10 minutes later, all is forgiven. But
See, it works for me because I don't think I watch anything live except Mets games.
I only watch sports live except this because I want to help with their ratings. I want to make sure he comes back, and I can never see the beginning of any of these damn things.
Good Lord. Do they fix it when you watch it? Oh, you don't know because you're only watching it live.
Well,
But
yeah.
I guess they do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch the second movie because I fell asleep. So I just watched that on demand today, and it was fine. It worked perfectly fine. It's just it didn't start on time for whatever reason. But,
5 hours is a lot to watch two kind of like okay movies.
Well, it's Friday
You know?
night, so I've already had several by the time this thing starts. So I start to peter out quickly because I'm getting old.
Yeah, there's no way I can make it through that after drinking.
Yeah, so I always make the first movie, or at least that's the plan. But it's so great seeing him back doing this weekly thing. And we were just talking about this before we started. The fact that he calls Felissa Rose anytime there's any kind of dick in the movie, he calls her and rings her up as the mangled dick expert is just the best.
I love the way that he just takes a long, hot piss on anybody who's politically correct.
Yes.
And this is why people need to watch him and support him, because he does not give a flying fig about what anybody thinks.
He is a man of the ages. that is for sure. He's not up on the whole PC movement happening right now.
He's almost 70, right?
Yeah, I'd say 65, 66. Yeah, I mean, he was on TV in the 80s, so
Yeah. So he's allowed. Who the
yeah.
fuck cares?
Yeah. You said did you watch him do Chud?
I did not watch him do Chud.
He basically just shit on the movie the whole time.
See, that's another one I watched recently. So I was like, oh, I don't want to go through that one again.
I did too, but I wanted to see his take, and I was surprised at how much he does not like that movie. It was pretty funny.
Really? Because I think I actually like Chud.
I liked it too, but he was not a fan. So
the thing is, what was grosser looking, the Chuds or Daniel Stern?
That's a great question.
It's a real toss-up.
So our new segment has been Joe Bob. Joe Bob's return. But
Joe Bob's in the news, everybody.
I think there are free codes still sitting around somewhere, floating around the internet. If you want to get a free month of Shudder to check out some of these, 100% worth it. It is hilarious. And in the chat, Pam has said that, yeah, Joe Bob is 66. So,
and if you need a freebie to order $5 a month Shudder, get an effing job.
If you get it for a year like I did, it's only $4, which is a steal because they have so many good movies on there.
Just return some cans.
So once again, I am now pushing Shudder after shitting on it on Friday on Twitter. So,
well, you're shitting on Shudder Live.
The circle is complete.
But the rest of Shudder is fine.
Yeah, it works great except for this live snafu every time, but
that's fine.
Still fun. All
right, so we're going to skip the news and we're going to go straight to staff picks.
We have such sights to show you.
Hey, special thanks to the chat group who said Jack is jacking off.
That's the best. You know, there was one piece of news I totally forgot until I just saw it in the chat. Did you see the Dead Don't Die trailer with Bill Murray and a giant cast? It's a zombie movie. Like a zombie comedy.
It's not the Zombieland sequel with a different title, is it?
No, it's something completely different. It looks very weird and very fun. So I would definitely check that out. Huge cast.
I would think with Bill Murray now, if you had to make him a zombie, that's very little makeup application.
He's enjoyed his life.
Good for him. That cocaine's a terrible drug.
That's right.
So, Jason, what'd you watch?
This is going to be mostly me bitching.
Oh, it's going to be one of those weeks.
Well, I'm continuing my Friday the 13th marathon. I'll get to that in a bit. And just flipping through movies looking for something to watch, I realized my wife has never seen Life Force. I've only ever seen Life Force once. So,
I love that movie.
Hey, let's check it out. Man, is this a movie of thirds? The first third, the first act is great. I mean, I love it. Even though the space effects were terrible when the movie came out. I mean, this came out after 2001, after Alien, after all these movies that show you how to do really great space effects. I don't know if they just had figurines moving in front of the, like, it was not good.
Toby Hooper had no budget for that thing, I'm sure.
It showed. But the idea was great. Just this spaceship finding a alien vampire and or I guess I should say a space shuttle finding a spaceship with alien vampires on it. And when the naked woman gets up and just starts terrorizing the place, it's so glorious. And then it gets weird. Sorry.
I'm sorry. The budget was $25 million.
Okay, so he just was spending it on hookers and blow, or
it made $11 million.
Oh. Yeah, that's
it was written by, the screenplay was by Dan O'Bannon.
I did know that.
Alien.
I did know that. It's got some impressive people working behind it.
Yeah.
So the middle third is so incomprehensibly boring for the most part. When they go find Jean-Luc Picard at a hospital and the main guy is yelling in his face and then kisses him and just all this psychic babble is going on. I'm like, oh God, this movie sucks. Why is this so long? This is over 2 hours long. And then it gets to the last third that's zombie apocalypse, vampire, ghost shit flying through the air, and it's glorious and amazing, and it totally pulled me back from the brink, and I remembered why I enjoyed the movie the first time, and the length also made me remember why I don't revisit this movie all that often.
How long was it? I don't remember. Was it?
It was over 2 hours.
Well, here's the deal. This is why this movie is so great. A, it's got vampires in space, but B, it has Matilda May gloriously full frontally naked so much. It's almost Skinamax time.
It is very, very titillating. The first first third.
Yeah, that was subtle. I remember watching this with my dad on the couch. It was like one of those where you kind of inch a little further away. You're like, this is uncomfortable.
So that's the thing. Watching this, I obviously remembered that scene. I'd forgotten so much of it because it had been so long. And as I'm watching the middle part, I'm thinking, yeah, this is why I forgot it, because this is a drag. And then the end is just badass and great. And
that's crazy.
If you've never seen it, you have to watch it. You know, maybe get a beer or two in the middle. You're going to get a lot of exposition and crap that doesn't matter. But man, the beginning and end of this movie just really carry it.
Yeah, and I prefer that to really good 2 acts, and then the last act sucks. I'd rather have punch it up. The last act.
It's just one of those movies. I always think, man, if they cut 30 minutes out of this, it would be an all-time classic to a lot of people. Instead of people being like, "That's boring."
Yeah, anytime it got boring, Matilda May just got nude, and I was like, "Yay, back in it! Here we go! This is awesome."
There you go, Life Force.
Well, I saw a movie that was has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It has 0 value other than to say you saw it. So I saw this with Jack, and I will speak for us both with full confidence. This movie is called Demented Death Farm Massacre.
What a great title.
It is. It's a kind of cool title. Sounds like it could be one of my books.
I was thinking the same thing, or something I would watch on So Bad It's Good.
You might be able to pull it off, but there were so many draggy parts that you might. Sometimes it's like, all right, I've made fun of the redneckness of this enough. There's not much more I can do. It was originally called not Honey. It's Shantytown Honeymoon, and it was picked up by Troma, who then pulled John Carradine probably off an iron lung someplace. So he plays the judge, and you could tell he's sitting, but you only get him from the chest up. You know he's sitting, and they just put some shrubbery around him at night, and he just says platitudes here and there.
Was he hammered?
It's so weird. In the beginning, he's just like, and then they're doomed if they do that. And you're like, what? So I looked at Jack, and I'm like, well, we'll never see him again. Like he just did his 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
He pops up like 4 more times, but just to say like one line. And it just cuts back to hillbilly madness. But it centers around diamond thieves, one of them being British, who were somewhere in the friggin' Ozarks. I don't know where they are. But they run into a guy who's a moonshiner, this Big Ben, ugly mother effing moonshiner who has the hottest young wife ever. And you're thinking, what kind of trade did he get her in? There's no way. And they've been newlyweds for 4 days, and he ain't but slept with her yet, and she's just so horny. But every time she starts to get horny and her boobs start spilling out of her shirt a little bit, he starts quoting scripture and listening to televangelists on his radio and drinking moonshine and getting drunk.
Is this supposed to be a comedy?
Sure.
You really couldn't tell?
I think it's definitely, there's some tongue in cheek in here. But there are 2 women in this movie that are freaking drop dead gorgeous. And me and Jack just kept going, all right, so when are the clothes coming off? Because they were wearing some insane outfits. They get close. So you never get what you're looking for. So you don't get that. You don't get much blood or mutilation. You just get a whole lot of hillbillies talking to each other and diamond thieves trying to figure a way out. It's so bad.
Wow.
But
where is this on Prime?
It's on Prime. We were drinking, so it was perfectly fine. And we just laughed and talked the whole way through it. If you're going to be alone and sit through this and say, oh, I'm just going to turn this on tonight, punch yourself in the genitals and find something else to do.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's like the reset button. The reset button is right in the G spot. You got to punch it and you reset yourself and you put on Alien or something.
I have no idea how to follow that, so I'm just going to go to my movie.
I'll reset you. Some bitch.
All right. The Friday the 13th quest continues.
Da-na-na.
I know
where you went this time.
I kept trying to prepare my wife for, okay, you think 5 isn't that great, 6 maybe didn't work for you because of the zombie Jason stuff. Just wait. These are all-time classics compared to what's coming. And we got to Friday 7. Oh.
My wife's favorite, by the way.
How?
I think she likes telekinetic powers. I think that's a thing.
So there's some decent stuff in this movie. Some of the stunts are really good. Kane Hodder as Jason finally, amazing. That telekinetic storyline makes no goddamn sense. Like, what is this doing in a Friday the 13th movie?
It's Jason versus Carrie.
Yeah, why?
Why not? They figured, what the hell? I figured that nobody's paying attention.
They just decided, yeah, we're going to do Jason versus the Phoenix, and maybe Wolverine will show up here. It just... and this is another one of those that you could tell the MPA absolutely destroyed the kills because they're not that great.
If I'm correct, you don't ever see any kills on screen, do you? Or
not the way you'd expect.
Yeah.
But you do get the all-time classic sleeping bag kill.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So this is not good. If you're a completist, you got to watch it. There is some cool stuff. Worth it for Kane Hodder if you're into that kind of thing. But we were just kind of going down a slope with a few of these. 6 really peaks, and then you just kind of jump off the edge.
See, 7 is a big one in my house. Is that 7 the one with the girl in the raft, the brunette girl who's like in a little raft?
Little brunette girl on a raft?
Yeah, there's a gorgeous brunette. I think it's in 7. Anyway, I don't know. They all
watching them all so quickly back to back to back, they're starting to blur.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not the worst in the series, but to me, 7 is really when the downward spiral begins.
Yeah, trust me, I have to watch it every year at least once.
Oh god, dude.
So I fully understand.
Good stunt work, though. I will say that. So
yeah. Okay. After the Hillbilly Massacres, whatever, we revisited a movie called Sleepaway Camp. Which isn't this one of your favorites, or am I wrong?
Not one of my favorites, but that ending is one of the greatest things you'll see.
Well,
if you don't know it's coming.
Yeah. Everybody knows this movie by this point. It's just another camp slasher movie.
Kind of boring if I remember at the beginning.
Well, here's the thing. This movie is terrible. I mean, nothing goes on in this movie forever. If it's an 89-minute running time, nothing happens for 84 minutes. So it's just a lot of camp shenanigans with a girl, her and her brother are there, and she's kind of quiet and weird. But man, I hadn't seen it. Maybe I saw it like a few years ago, but I don't know what state I was in. This time, I just like, holy cannoli. This is some drag, man.
Yeah.
But a part of me knows it's a quote unquote classic. So I'm like, I forgive a lot of stuff in this movie. I think if you're new to horror and you just pick that up and you'll listen to some geezers like us, you'll be like, why the hell did you make me watch this?
That ending.
Until the ending.
Yep. That's why everybody remembers that movie. I couldn't tell you anything else that happens in it, to be honest.
Because nothing does.
There you go.
It's just waiting for the reveal. And what makes that ending so good, it's not just the reveal, it's that the face, it's everything about her countenance at that moment.
Yes.
It's so creepy.
It works perfectly.
If I came across that in a camp, dropping a deuce right there, an unwilling deuce is going right out and I'm running because that would scare the living hell out of me.
Yeah, I think the way they did it's really neat. That was they got some local college kid, got him hammered and put a mask of Felissa Rose on him. And that's why the whole thing is just disturbing as hell.
Yeah, because it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, it just looks off and it totally works.
Right. So that's the best. It's kind of like when you go on the Queen Mary. Everyone thinks the Queen Mary is haunted, but it's because every angle in the ship is off. Your perceptions are screwed from the moment you walk in there. You never feel right because part of you knows there's no right angles left anymore, and everything is bowed and pitched and winding.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like that. Trying to screw up the face and the body, and you're going, "What the hell?"
Yeah, that's a movie in this marathon we're doing of all the old classic killers and slasher movies. I don't think I can go through Sleepaway Camp again. There's like 4 of them now or something.
It ain't gonna happen.
Well,
here's the funny thing. As we're watching it, my wife is there, and we see all the kids are wearing like the campground t-shirts. She bought one for me, her, and Jack while we were watching it.
Oh, nice. That's fun.
We're gonna have some camp t-shirts.
So you're gonna go as Felissa Rose for Halloween? Just get a mask of her and that's it?
I gotta find a penis though.
Oh.
Once I find a penis, then I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's tough.
I'll just go with the chick from Life Force.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, by the way, this is the full frontal episode. We're not done with full frontal nudity.
Oh no, there's a lot of discussion of that coming up.
Not till this show is over.
Yeah. All right. If Friday 7 is going over the cliff, man, do you faceplant when you watch Friday 8, Jason Takes Manhattan? This was actually the first Friday 13th I saw when I was young. I don't know, 11, 12, something like that. It was on HBO, and I think I caught it at the end when he was in Manhattan. And I always thought this movie was great. And then when I got old enough to rent it in the store and watched it, it's just like, what is this piece of crap? So I hadn't seen it in going on 20 years probably. Oh man, I hope I don't have to watch it again, to be honest. It's bad. It's bad. This is the first one that I'm watching it thinking, this is a terrible, terrible movie.
Oh, come on. I'm joking.
I mean,
You're right.
There are 3 good things about this. Kane Hodder. The boxing kill is fun. It's not done particularly well, but it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the shots of him walking in Times Square are amazing.
It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah, you get it for about 30 seconds. But man, that stuff is just the best. The crap on the boat. First of all, this movie makes no sense.
There's a lot of boats for things shot in Manhattan that never touches the Hudson River. It's amazing. How
Jason gets to Manhattan, it just makes no sense.
There's like a woodsy inlet that leads to an ocean that leads to Manhattan. I don't know.
It's a lake. At the beginning, he kills some people on a small boat, which shouldn't have been out on that lake in the first place, but whatever. And then he's just climbing into this cruise ship, which is the oldest, biggest piece of shit cruise ship I've ever seen. It looks like an old fishing vessel they decided to call a cruise ship.
If that's a ship that should have been scuttled.
Yes. I'm not sure they actually had that thing moving at any point in the movie. It usually is just sitting there.
Yeah.
And when they're supposed to be in Jersey, they're obviously in Canada or Washington because you can see mountains rising like right out of the lake.
That's straight out of like Rumble in the Bronx, that Jackie Chan movie where there's nothing but mountains. You're like, I grew up in the Bronx. I never saw a mountain.
It's so bad. And then after the cruise ship sinks and a couple people get off, by the way, the kills are horrible in this movie. This is the Saturday morning cartoon version of Friday the 13th. Just the kills are almost entirely off screen and they're nothing. There's just nothing to them. I don't know what the thought process was there, but then these people row into Manhattan from the ocean, and somehow Jason was on the boat and then is just climbing out of the ladder. And I'm so confused by, can Jason swim? What's happening here?
I think he just plods under the water, so he can just walk around.
So I looked it up because I wasn't sure how these were happening. And in both instances, how he gets to the ocean and how he gets onto shore in New York, the director said, we just figured the audience could figure that out. That was his entire plan.
Because he knows nobody gave a crap.
Oh, man, this is so rough. And then the end is hysterical. This movie, actually, I was thinking I could probably do it on So Bad It's Good. It's so bizarre. The end, you find out that the sewer system of New York City is flushed every night with toxic waste. It's completely flooded with toxic waste.
Yeah. You didn't know this?
What in God's name? That is how they came up with to end this movie. Toxic waste in the sewers.
Yeah, totally. That's
So-
Donald Trump. That's what he was sniffing all that time living in New York.
Apparently,
Explains
this
everything.
is how they get rid of their homeless problem in New York. Time for everyone to go down in the tunnels to sleep.
That might be how they got rid of the squeegee guys. You're not a New Yorker, so there was a time in New York in the 80s, 90s where anytime you stopped your car, some dirty homeless guy would literally spit on your window and wash it with a squeegee or newspaper and insist you give him money. It was like, it was awful. And then Rudy Giuliani came in and they all disappeared overnight. We assume they're in a landfill in Staten Island.
I'm going to say toxic waste.
Could have been toxic waste. We can only hope.
He probably got the idea from this movie and thought, holy crap, this is genius. It killed Jason Voorhees.
Jason just cleaned up Manhattan.
I also don't understand when Jason dies, he turns into a younger version of himself. What?
That makes zero sense whatsoever.
And why does she keep seeing hallucinations? Well, there's supposed to be hallucinations of Jason as a kid throughout the movie, but the dog can see them too, and other people see it at different times, so it's not a hallucination. So, what?
It's a fever dream. The whole movie is a fever dream.
Oh, this movie. I was getting some pretty good laughs out of it. I'm not going to lie. I did not hate watching this as bad as it is because it's just... The director seems like a great guy. Very nice, very upbeat, and just...
But you see, we were not very critical back then. Back then, the 90s, right?
Yeah,
There weren't all-
89, 90?
Yeah, we didn't have all these shows like our show and other where you pick things apart. It's maybe you saw a review for it in one newspaper. That was it. And you knew that any critic would hate it. And you didn't care. You went there just to get out of the house.
Did you actually like this movie?
At the time, yes. It was Jason. I loved it.
Oh my God. Oh.
I could watch Jason make macaroni art for an hour and a half and I'd be perfectly fine.
That's pretty much what he does for the first 45 minutes of this movie. So.
Make macaroni art in Vancouver.
But Kane Hodder is the best at playing Jason. He's just so much more character than the other guys. Not to trash them. Some of them are pretty good too, but man, he's great in this.
And he's big.
He's a big son of a bitch.
He sure is. I've stood next to him at a bar. He's freaking huge. Oh yeah. Had drinks with him and Dee Wallace.
That's a fun night.
That was kind of bizarre because I was like, oh, he's nice and reserved, and she's crazy, and very debased. It was awesome. I don't have any other movies. I'm just going to quickly mention. I just started reading a book by Catherine Cavendish, which I don't know if you've ever read anything by her.
I haven't.
She's a British author. I first met her when we were together at Sam Hain. Then she was doing books with Pinnacle, and now we're together at Flame Tree.
Okay.
She's such a damn good writer, man. She does a lot of like her specialty is like hauntings and ghosts, things like that. Some witchcraft things. She's amazing. Really. She's got a flow to her that I think some people spend their entire careers trying to get that flow.
Mm-hmm.
And this book I'm reading right now is The Haunting of Henderson Close, which is set in Edinburgh. And it's this public area that used to be like old tenements, and there was a murder there and stuff. And it's about these tour guides that are in there and weird crap that's happening around the close. She builds up tension. There's some genuine, like I was reading it today at the beach, full sun, and there was one moment I got a little creeped out. I was like, wow, all right.
Damn. All right.
Way to go, Kat. So I can't wait to finish it. I'm like, I started it yesterday. I'm halfway through it. So hopefully tomorrow or the day after I'll be all done. I could give a proper review that I will put on Final Guys.
Ooh.
I'm going to review from Writing Machine right now, man.
That will get her lots of sales, guaranteed.
She will get awesome single-digit sales from
I should say, 2 more reviews up this week. I got another one going up tomorrow. So if you haven't been to the site in a while, we got all kinds of recommendations for you.
And they're sortable.
And they are sortable. That is correct.
That's a big deal, by the way. So if you're...
That was a pain in the ass for me to figure out. I'm just going to say.
I can imagine.
It was a super pain in the ass. All right. I have one more thing. I read A Long December by Richard Chizmar. After I read his collaboration with Stephen King, I thought, this guy's got some chops. I'm going to check him out. And he's from like 10 minutes away from me. I'd never met him, but this is a short story collection with maybe 20 some stories in it. It's pretty long for a story collection. I want to say 400 or 500 words. Yeah. The guy's got great chops. He really does. He's a good writer. And, it's like any short story collection. Some of them are going to hit with you. Some of them, aren't. I didn't feel any of them were poor at all. So this is one of the better short story collections I've ever read, to be honest. And the last story, A Long December, that this is named after is killer. I freaking loved it. Yeah, such a way to go out with a bang and have everybody giving you good reviews on your book because everybody liked the last story. It's brilliant. Man. Yeah, it's brilliant. So I think I paid less than $4 for it. 100% worth it. Yeah. So A Long December, Richard Chizmar.
He's on a roll because he's got I think they're making movies of 3 different books of his stories.
Yeah, the one about the lighthouse, whatever it is.
Stuff he's written with his son now. That's crazy, man.
He's killing it. He's on a tear.
Helps to be friends with Stephen King.
It makes a little bit of a difference.
He wasn't friends with Stephen King when he started Cemetery Dance. So this all started with starting a magazine in 1988. And it's all come from there. So
still going.
Hey, and he's a sweet guy and he's my boss. So I'm going to say nothing but good things about him. I have nothing bad to say.
The check has cleared. We are good.
Shit, I am waiting for a check. Okay. All right. So this is it. We're wrapping this up, right? You got nothing else?
Yes, I'm done.
We actually did books and movies. Wow. This is an erudite episode.
Everyone's so lucky.
Now? All right. We're going to get into, I almost call it the unnameable, Castle Freak by Stuart Gordon.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
I may have started that while you were still talking. We'll see how that sounds.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's funny because in the old days, I always confused Castle Freak with this movie, with Unnameable.
You just
I don't know
did
why.
it.
I know. I'm still doing it. Like Blockbuster and Best Buy. Can't stop myself.
Unnameable. Why am I not thinking of that? What is that?
It's an 80s or maybe early 90s kind of like bad monster movie. Not to say that this is a bad monster movie, but just I remember like the VHS covers were similar. So I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I saw this one last week or not again.
And this is based off H.P. Lovecraft. Is it based off the same story? An ugly monster called the Unnameable is trapped in a vault? I mean, it sounds pretty close.
Based on all these H.P. Lovecraft things. It was based on like 3 sentences in an H.P. Lovecraft novel. Maybe they would give the title the same title.
No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
Cover looks neat.
Go-tos back in the day. So do you want to break this movie down?
Sure. All right. So
Jack, where are you?
A woman is beating a freak with a whip at the beginning and dies in her castle. Mm-hmm. And then Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, and their blind daughter find out they've inherited this castle. And they go to live there and sort their affairs, which I don't think they really go into details about what that means. I'm guessing sell it. And while they're there, they start experiencing weird things because there's a freak in the basement. And if you're sick, you have the flu, you're just down and depressed, pop this in. Nothing will make you feel better at the end of the day. It's such a lighthearted, jovial film. It's hard to beat.
Boy, there is nothing lighthearted about this flick. Good Lord.
Nothing. If you thought, hey, I love Reanimator, let's watch Castle Freak.
Yeah. Those are kind of fun, campy movies.
No.
I mean, just right from the beginning, you get Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton visibly hates his guts.
Yes.
Right? Because he was an alcoholic and murdered their child in his car.
And blinded the other.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I don't know how he could. So this is a man who hates himself probably more than she hates him.
Yeah.
So this isn't, that's the good normal part.
Right. That is the least offensive part of the movie, is the suicidal father who killed his kid and blinded another and is hated by his wife.
Oh,
that's the best part.
Let me tell you now, Barbara Crampton, this is one of her last movies that she did for a while. This is
Mhm.
1995, and she said she was 35 years old. Beautiful. She's stunning in this movie.
She is.
And she's dressed like a mom.
Yeah. She's doing the mom thing. She's got a
Yeah.
15-year-old daughter or whatever. Yeah.
And when we saw her, because if you watch Joe Bob, she's on the show with him. So he interviews her for a couple of segments by the trailer. And Jason and I were talking beforehand. What is she ingesting or doing that makes her look this good at 60?
It's crazy. She looks like she's maybe in her 40s.
Maybe.
It's unbelievable how good she looks. We were saying, we're looking at her thinking, it doesn't look like she's had a bunch of work done. She doesn't look fake or plasticky. She just looks amazing.
No, I mean, I saw her 2 years ago. I was a foot away from her, and you can't see. I don't know. She's amazing. She's the fountain of youth right there. But I did like this. I like the pairing of the two of them because they definitely have like an established chemistry. But I like how for the viewer they kind of flip their dynamic around, and this was a totally different way to see the two of them interact in the movie. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. In each one of their movies, their, I don't want to say chemistry, but their interactions with each other are so different. And this one, I mean, the crazy shit that happens in the other movies doesn't make Barbara Crampton's character hate him as much as she hates him in this. It's just complete loathing. And I don't know, I wish she had more roles with him, with Stuart Gordon directing. I mean, they could have made movies forever and I would have just watched it because the three of them are such a great pairing.
They could have been like Bogey and Bacall. They could have been like Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn of horror.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
That would have been cool. By the way, the Freak is... Here's what I don't get. So was the Freak normal until the Freak was locked up in the dungeon and just became that way?
Well, the picture on the kid's tombstone or whatever, he's very young. So I'm assuming he was in the basement from when he was 5 or 8 or something. So yeah, he was a normal kid till he was mutilated by his mom.
I mean, he's pretty disgusting looking. This is practical effects that are really good because this is a gross, slobbering kind of creature.
Yeah. The practical effects are great and the performance is great. You are repulsed by the Castle Freak. You feel terrible for him, and you see how horrible he is because of everything that's been done to him. He's just a monster, but you feel bad for him at the same time. He's doing these horrible things, and you still feel bad for him.
True, because he doesn't do anything exceedingly horrible to the blind girl eventually. But you see that there is a potential for some really bad antics on his part.
Yeah. And most of the stuff he does that's terrible to other people are just literal versions of what he saw, like in a sex scene. He just actually consumes parts of people.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand. And so it's that kind of thing where it's just what he's doing is so horrible, but you feel bad that he just has no clue of what's happening, of why he's doing it.
Do you think he confuses nipples with big pepperonis?
Perhaps. But maybe he was just really hungry, because how long does it take to get from the States to a castle and the dude has no food? And this is in the 90s.
He was probably starving.
I would say he was a little hungry.
He definitely feasted. By the way, there's an early scene, relatively early, where he's manacled down in the dungeon and he wants to break free because he's spotted this young blind girl. And he's like, I'd like to touch whatever I have going on and get close to her. So he breaks his thumb.
Yeah.
And then pulls the manacle off his hand. And it reminded me of the degloving from Gerald's Game.
Yes. Just as graphic as that. He actually pulls his thumb off with the manacle. It's the scene that lets you know this movie is going to be no holds barred. It's like you said, it's pretty early and it is nasty.
Set the tone. But it was The only thing that doesn't make it as gross as Gerald's Game is he's a monster.
Right.
So you're like, monster's taking off his own hand.
Yeah, he's not a beautiful woman strapped to a bed.
Right. But man, if we're gonna do top 10 deglovings of all time, it's a fight for spots 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And we'll try to find 8 more.
Yeah, it's not really something you see in movies all that often.
That should be a subgenre, degloving horror.
I did write that into one of my books, and just while I was writing, I was like, there's a reason you don't see this very often. It's horrible.
This is terrible. So let's go back a little bit. So they've moved into this castle. There's a terrible family dynamic. There's a beast in the basement. And sooner or later, Jeffrey Combs is going to take to the drink.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Because-
I mean, at one point, she tells him she wishes he'd die.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I wanted to drink while watching that, and it wasn't directed at me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, my answer would be like, yeah, jump on board, sister. That's right. That's the train I'm driving on.
Yeah.
It's like the only reason I guess that you stay alive is for penance.
I get for your daughter? I don't know.
The daughter who every time you see her sightless face, you're reminded of what a scumbag you are.
It's rough, man. His character, it's rough.
And he plays it subtle, like always. No. He doesn't go on full on Dr. West, but he has his moments.
I thought this was one of his better performances, and I actually really like him in most of his roles. I think he's a good actor, but I thought he was great in this, to be honest.
He's one of those guys that steals the scene every time he walks in anything he does.
Yep.
He could be a walk-in in Ash versus Evil Dead. You'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Ash who?
Yeah, exactly. He was great in Frighteners with Michael J. Fox, and he's done so much good stuff. But yeah, when he's pushed to drink and then just goes off the rails, it's really when the movie shifts gears. It downshifts and things get dirty and loud.
Says, I'm going to bring this Italian girl into the basement because, who can't be impressed by this? I love the fact that Joe Bob said this was her last horror movie or last movie.
How could it not be?
It was also the last movie of the daughter. So this movie ended careers.
And, maybe it should have, because there's no way you feel good during the making of this. I mean, the Italian hooker scene alone is so brutal. You just feel dirty while watching it.
First of all, it's literally dirty where he's taking her.
Yep.
I hope to God that hair was a wig, because that hair is weird looking. But she gets very naked, and again, full frontal for a moment.
Stuart Gordon loves his very naked women.
Yeah, he loves guys going down on girls.
In horrible ways. He's the Richard Lehman of directors.
I'm the layman of muff diving.
I don't know what it says about me that I love both of those guys.
Yeah, really. You're in the same boat as me. But Jeffrey Combs, he gets drunk. He takes this girl home. He gives her a little bit of. He's a very cunning linguist.
Oh God.
we assume he finishes in his tidy whities on his own.
That was
No
a weird
hands.
scene, the way that was put together.
Yeah, I don't know if he finished or that was just shame stopped him.
I'm not sure. The way it was shot was weird. It's kind of one of those. I don't think it works the way you think it works. It's like watching The Room and watching Tommy Wiseau go after someone's belly button.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, the best part was when that scene started, my daughter walked in the room. I was like, Jesus Christ.
This will be comfortable.
I'm just going to pretend I'm not even watching.
Did she leave by the time the castle freak got to the hooker?
She did.
Well, at least there's that.
Which was really the fun part. Because the castle freak looks at her as like a 4-course meal.
He does. I guess we should probably. It's a little late for spoiler warnings now because.
You don't need spoilers. The movie's 30 years old.
Yeah, it's 24 years old.
24, yeah. It's old.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on Shudder.
This won't spoil anything, trust me.
Watch the Joe Bob version, though, for the conversation about mangled dicks alone. So I guess we should probably get into that. Because,
do you want to get into, because I'll get into the dick debate.
Okay. I think you and I are going to be in agreement, and when I was listening to his conversation about it, I was confused.
I think Joe's wrong.
The castle freak is castrated, right? He's got like a nub.
Because when he is heaving in front of the hooker, her natural reaction is to try to jack him off.
Right, get him to calm down.
Meanwhile, he's as unsightly as can be. So he's the ugliest thing you've ever seen, with a body that's pale and scarred and just really gross and deformed. And she only screams when she touches.
Yeah, she reaches between his legs.
Is cut off, and it's visibly just a nub.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there. And that's what freaks her out.
Yeah, I was wondering, is he watching on a TV where the contrast levels are screwed up and he can't see in the dark shadows or something? Because it was pretty clear to me he was missing some pieces.
He needed to put his spectacles on because there was obvious. And I just kept thinking when I was watching, I go, if this monster was a mobster, he'd be like Freddie Halfcock.
Oh, Jesus.
Absolutely. But yeah, he doesn't have a penis. So that's the craziest thing. He's very, very horny. And there's nothing he can do about it, which is why then it's going to turn into violence eventually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That scene was disturbing. Just.
He's gonna literally eat your punani. He's going to eat your nipples off and other things if you give him enough time.
My wife walked in when I was setting the show up and I was getting a thumbnail, and just the Google images of Castle Freak are like missing nipples and stuff. And she didn't watch it with me. And she's like, what in God's name is that? And that's why I didn't watch this movie with you. I knew you wouldn't like this one.
It's extreme.
It
is, as far as there's one shot I absolutely love is when the Barbara Crampton has, first she offers her boobs, but only does kind of like a half a tear. You're like, oh, that's it.
Like what, Barbara?
But that is able to get her daughter out. And as they run out, when the Castle Freak jumps out of the window at them, that scene was awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Fright Rags, commission that to be on a t-shirt. Get that guy, whoever does your painting, get him to paint that, because I'll buy that.
Oh, I was thinking you were going to say the scene where she reaches between his legs. That's the one you want in the middle of your chest.
That's the one I just want to keep reenacting. But I just love the fact that that's when she freaks out.
Yeah, yeah.
He's probably going to kill me. I could touch him. Oh, okay. Oh my God, only half a dick.
Right. That's when she just couldn't handle it anymore. She realized she was in trouble.
Or was she more upset by his tiny balls? I didn't know really which one bothered her more.
Let's talk about another scene.
So I like that we're in agreement. We both know.
What was your overall impression of the movie? Well, first of all, how long had it been since you'd seen it?
I saw it last year.
Oh, okay.
I watched it last year for the show.
Oh yeah, Jesus, we talked about it.
But I did want to see it, and I wanted to see what Joe Bob had to say. And then when I saw Barbara Crampton was interviewed, I'm like, oh, damn, I'm in. So I was psyched.
I had not seen it in a long time. It was one of those that I watched it. I'm good. I don't really need to revisit this. And then when Joe Bob was doing it, I thought, okay, yeah, this is not. I'm not going to come back to this for a while. It's an icky movie, but it is exceedingly well made.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. It really is. The only real complaint, it's not even a complaint, it's just more of an observation, is it had that full moon look with the kind of soft lighting, almost like it was shot for television.
Right.
This definitely was not shot for television, but it almost had that look, like almost, I don't know, cheap cameras or flat lighting or something. In certain scenes, it had that full moon kind of puppet master look.
Wait for the 40K transfer. I actually would be interested to see this on Blu-ray.
Me too.
Because I don't think
it would end the debate.
Yeah, maybe it's just the transfer that's not so good. But I don't care. It kind of added to the mood though. But I understand what you're saying.
Like I said, it's not even a complaint. I noticed it more, and I don't remember. Was Reanimator Full Moon? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Because that did not have the look, and neither did From Beyond. I just noticed this one. So I wasn't sure if it was because it was a different company or a different time. I mean, it was the 90s, They were using a lot cheaper cameras in certain times, so I don't know.
If you were going to put the Combs Crampton trilogy in order, what's your best to least
I don't know if it's best,
or
but
favorite?
my favorite, I think, is From Beyond, and then Reanimator, and then this.
This is an incredible day. We have not only agreed on the quality of the Castle Freak's penis, we also agree on the order of these movies because From Beyond is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's in its own level of madness.
It's just so weird. And Reanimator is too. And I freaking love Reanimator, but From Beyond is just so bananas.
Yeah. And I love the concept of that too. I don't know. I want to
me
make
too.
one of those machines.
Yeah, it's the very Lovecraft nature of it that I really dig. And yeah, we are agreeing on way too much. It must be because Jack's not here and things are just going too smoothly.
See, this is what Jack and I say when we do Monster Man. I'm like, oh wow, we're all in harmony. It's Jason must do this. So maybe it's just 3. We can't handle 3.
The 3 of us are just too combustible.
Because you know what? When I'm not around and I listen to you and Jack, I'm like, oh, all right, that sounded pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's perfectly smooth.
All right, so that's our problem. We're deeply affected by the Trinity. I want to ask you a question. Have you used Letterboxd yet?
No, I've kept thinking about signing up for it. I actually thought it would be a good thing for us to have, but I haven't.
Yeah, I signed up this morning and I loaded up I think 50 or 60 movies. There's easy ways to do it.
Okay.
Rated some. I'm not going to drop reviews on this, but it's funny because they give you suggestions. So you pick your genre and they'll have a page of 40 movies, and you could just check off the ones that you saw. I checked off all but 1. I was like, all right,
nice.
And it wasn't just popular movies. There was some weird ones in there too.
Do they make recommendations based on what you've liked?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it might be just the Goodreads of movies.
Okay.
Or it's just track. My father would have loved this because we didn't even know he was doing this when he passed away. We were going through his stuff and we found books of just every movie he'd watched and the year, the day he'd watched it and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this would have been right up his alley.
It would make sense. We go through so many freaking movies and TV shows on this series. It would make sense for us to have some kind of online database people could check.
True. Well, if they want to find out, they got to watch every damn podcast.
That's right. Audra had made that list last year of everything we've ever talked about. So maybe need to ask in the Final Guys Facebook page, and maybe she'll hook you up. It was a big project.
We don't have a show for next week, which is going to be episode 99.
Yep.
Should I tell what we're thinking of doing for 100 is maybe doing it maybe on a Saturday, you think? Saturday night so we can drink?
We'll have to talk about the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends.
We're not sure yet. We will let you all know next week. We're trying to decide maybe we'll do a call-in show. We'll give out our cell phone numbers and you call and we'll just put it next to the microphone. Ask us questions.
I probably could. Maybe we should do a Q&A. Just have people who listen ask questions and we just answer them for half the show. I don't know.
I do think that's a great idea. So people should send us questions on Facebook or Facebook.
Yeah, start sending us questions. Maybe that's what we'll do because I really don't know what to do. Even if we picked a movie, we picked The Thing for 50, how the hell are we going to top that?
Well, that's why my thought is maybe we have to pick something that you can really have fun with.
Was it you that said The Happening?
I think Jack said The Happening, which would be kind of funny.
That would be hilarious.
How Did This Get Made? Just did Van Helsing. And they had Seth Rogen on there. I'm like, which would have been great, but we're not going to top that. And that just came out. I mean, you're talking professional comedians in front of a huge audience going bananas.
Oh, God. Yeah, I have no idea. So I guess we'll figure out what we're doing this week, and then hopefully we'll announce what the hell we're doing for 100, probably the day before, so that that's what we do.
I promise by next episode, we will have what 100 is going to be locked up, locked in, ready, and you'll all know. I'm going to take it upon my shoulders.
Okay, sounds good.
So ride with me, everybody.
Yeah, when's Pet Sematary come out? April
soon.
sometime. So
It is April.
yeah, I don't know if it's this weekend or not, but I'm sure we'll have to do
Sometimes
that.
not rebate is better.
I mean, I already know what happens in the movie because I've seen the trailer. So
You know what? They say you don't.
in the chat, they're saying Pet Sematary is this weekend.
It is?
Yeah. So
Pet Cemetery. Let's see. Oh, crap. It is. Well, I guess we know what it's going to be now.
yeah, I guess I'll try to see that in the theaters somehow. I'll figure it out. I mean, it's got to
Temper
be
your
Pet Sematary.
enthusiasm.
Well, I just it's a tough weekend, but I'll figure it out. So
Yeah, we can't let this one go by.
no. The trailer looked good. It just spoiled a lot. We'll find out.
I'm going to say it didn't, but I don't know.
hope. I mean, reading the book and seeing the first movie also probably spoiled a little bit for me, so I probably shouldn't bitch too much.
Just, can you drink at your movie theater?
Depending on which one I go to, yeah.
Go to the one you can drink at. It doesn't matter. That's what I do.
I like that plan.
15 minutes in, I'm like, oh, well, this is going to suck. I write down the thing, 4 beers. Boom. I have 45 minutes to finish these.
45.
I have a whole ritual. I know how to get this thing done.
I can tell by some of your reviews when you don't know what happened at the end of the movie.
There were so many movies, man.
That was a 4 or a 5 IPA movie.
These crappy teen movies that I just can't bear. It's like, why would I even remember? All I remember when we saw Unfriended Dark Web with my daughter and her friend who was about to go on not a pilgrimage, a thing where you go off to another country and you're like a mission.
Mhm.
So she was going to be a missionary. And when we were done, I'm all sloppy drunk and we're in the car. And I start grilling her on her religion because
nice.
I was a theology minor in college and I'm very fascinated by it. And I almost made her question her entire faith.
Good guy.
She kept like, I asked a question. She goes, oh, I don't really know. I'm like, so how can you go on a mission for God? You don't even know what God you're doing this for.
Oh, Jesus.
Jerk.
Is your daughter just like,
asshole.
shut up?
You know what? I hope I'm alive to read her memoirs. See just how much I screwed her up. But that's all right.
That's a drinking with Jason episode, I think.
We got to resurrect that.
Actually, I am. This Friday, I'm interviewing someone, so it's coming back.
Who are you going to have?
Mark Gunnels. I've had him on before. It's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. I remember Mark.
Yep, it's a good writer.
So you got that to look forward to. We got Monster Men with J.H. Moncrief to look forward to. And we're going to interview next Tuesday after the Final Guys episode. We're going to interview Terry M. West.
Ooh, who the hell's that?
You don't know who Terry West is? Oh, crap. Google him, man. Google him, bitch. He's an author. He's also he's run haunted attractions. He has a store that caters to Halloween stuff. So
cool.
It won't be interesting. He's a real cool dude in a loose mood.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right.
Get the hell out of here.
I think this episode is done.
Yeah.
We hit the hour mark almost. We're fine.
Yep.
Castle Freak. See it. Live it. Love it. Eat it.
Missed you, Jack.
Yeah, Jack. See? We didn't say anything bad about you either. Remember that next time I'm not on the show. Son of a bitch.
It's true.
All right, everybody. Until next time, good night.
Bye.